Hello YouTubers, this is Musicswhore here once again with another one of my top 50 albums of all time. Yes, you love it. It's a way of life. In this album, number 25, we are going to be looking at, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums ever made. I put it here because I thought it was the right spot to put it here, and we're going to look at the critically acclaimed triple album by the legendary guitar player, composer, just great musician, Mr. Frank Zappa. And as you can read down below, we're looking at Joe's Garage, Act 1, 2, and 3. This album, wow. But before I get into that, be sure, once again, to be sure to like, comment, subscribe down, all that, whatever you want to do. But let's get into, which is probably going to be one of my longer videos for this, the album Joe's Garage. Act 1 features the central scrutinizer, Joe's Garage, Catholic Girls, Crew Slut, Wet T-Shirt Night, Toda Line, Why Does It Hurt When I Pee, Lucille Has Messed My Mind Up. Act 2 is A Token of My Extreme, Stick It Out, Cyborg, Dong Wonk for Yuta, Keep It Greasy, Outside Now. And Act 3 is He Used to Cut My Grass, Packard Goose, Watermelon and Easter Hay, and A Little Green Rosetta. And this album is just under, or triple album is just under 2 hours. It's just a phenomenal album. The story behind it is pretty much follows the story of Joe and his love of music and how he forms a band. He gets sent to prison and all this, and he comes back and music's pretty much been outlawed. And it's really, I don't think people realized how actually on the ball Frank Zappa was for what was to come in the 1980s. I don't even think Zappa knew he was that on the ball for what was going to come in the 80s and even now with music. But wow, signature song off this album. I'll just go through Act 1, 2, and 3 and I'll say each of my signature songs off of them. Act 1 has to be Joe's Garage. It's probably my favorite song off the first act of it. Act 2, my favorite song would have to be A Token of My Extreme. I just like that song. It really worked well. In Act 3, Packard Goose. That song is just freaking amazing and has an amazing line in it. I might even just pop up Google quickly or the notes here and I'll actually find that line because it's one of my favorite musical lines that Zappa's ever said, and I think is one of the most truest lines that's ever been said in music came out of that song. Now, Hidden Gems off of Act 1, I'd really have to say Crew Slut. That was a great song. It's dirty. It's Zappa. It's just, that's how you explain it. Just Zappa. Act 2, I think Outside Now was a great song. It really ended off Act 2 very strongly going into Act 3. And then in Act 3, Little Green Rosetta. You could even say Watermelon and Easter Hay. It's just a great fucking album. This features not only Frank Zappa, this features a very young guitar player by the name of Steve Vai, who, I'm not sure how many people know this, but Frank Zappa gave Steve Vai pretty much his start. And he's given a lot of musicians with even his record label back in the early 60s, or late 60s, early 70s, and maybe even Zappa Records, I'm not sure. But he gave a lot of people who are still in music today their start in music. Thoughts and opinions while listening to this album. Wow. This is one of Zappa's perfect records where there's not much you can say about it. I know people might say it dragged on quite along. Some of the songs are too long. It's just a great fucking record to listen to. Joe's Garage blows my mind. Like, just, how can this album have anything except being called what it is? A masterpiece. It's just Zappa. If you don't like Zappa, there really must be something wrong with you because he's a phenomenal. If you're really into music, you're really into Zappa. Another thing about this album, musically it was very good. It was just phenomenal to listen to. Um, it's one of those Zappa albums that just really seemed every song flowed. That's another thing I'll talk about this album. It flowed very well. It was great to listen to, and it was very good. Um, I like the central scrutinizer in the song, like the sort of voice following around Joe and all that. It seemed to work very well. It's not a terrible album. It's not horrible. It's pretty decent for what it was. And the album's just good. I'm just gonna quickly bring up that line here pretty quickly and just let's see. Wonder if it'll actually show the lyrics. Lyrics. No, I don't want to buy a ringtone for it. And here's the line, here's just the verse that Mary said during Packard Goose. Hi, it's me, the girl from the bus. Remember the last tour? Well, information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Truth is not beauty. Beauty is not love. Love is not music. Music's the best. Wisdom is the domain of the wise, which is extinct. Beauty is a French phonetic corruption of short cloth neck ornament currently in resurgence. Just that line from this album. Wow, Zappa really, lyrically, he was on this album. He was not the. There was a lot of quirkiness, but there's also some very seriousness in this album. Also, another thing he talked about was something that he called it a Pliantology, but really took a lot of aim at Scientology, saying what bullshit it is and all that. And I really think Frank Zappa is one of the true guys to actually call a lot of bullshit on stuff. Now, legacy of this album, one of the greatest albums of all time, hands down. But yeah, so that's my thoughts and opinions on top 50 albums of all time. Number 25, Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage, Acts 1, 2, and 3. Be sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. This is Musicswhore here once again. Peace.